And welcome back, dear viewers. From the headline news, we had the latest news saying something about the disabled. And we know that today in our Sunshine program, we have a guest, Ms. Hideko Hadzialic, Resident Responsibility, United Nations Development Program. Ms. Hideko, she is one of the leading ladies that has in the United Nations. We know that the International Day of Parents with Disabilities is annually observed on the 3rd of December to promote the full and equal participations of persons with disabilities and to take action for the inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of society and development as well. And to talk more about this subject, we are delighted to have with us today Ms. Hideko Hadzialic, Resident Representative, United Nations Development Program. And good morning, Ms. Hideko.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
My beautiful dear, you are a great, also a usual, guest in our show, in our program. So you are not a stranger, you are, our colleagues. A beautiful day, a beautiful smile, and we were going to start really our interview with you by this beautiful question. Please tell us, what is the history of this International Day for people with the disabilities, and why it is so important really to celebrate it every year at the December 3rd?
Thank you so much once again. We observe the International Day of Persons with Disabilities on 3rd of December every year since 1992.
Okay.
The day is marked to raise awareness and promote the equal participation and inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of our lives. We often say that not all disabilities are visible. It is important to deepen our understanding of disabilities that are not immediately apparent, such as mental illness, chronic spinal pain, depression, sight or hearing impairments, diabetes, unnoticed brain injuries, and cognitive dysfunctions, some of which can be caused by severe level of stress. So I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of the key facts. 1 billion people with disabilities in the world, and 80% of them live in developing countries.
Wow.
And second, about 450 million are living with a mental or neurological condition. And as much as 2/3 of these people will not seek professional medical help because they are afraid of stigma and discrimination. And, about 46% of older people aged more than 60 years old have some sort of disability conditions.
Yes.
And lastly, as you know, persons with disabilities are among the hardest hit by COVID-19.
Excellent.
So this year, the day is being commemorated throughout this week in conjunction with the ongoing session for the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which is an international convention Kuwait ratified 2013. By doing so, Kuwait expressed its commitment to implementing a human rights-based approach to disability throughout its policies and legislations.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Hideko. This was really a fine answer. I have a question of my own, Ms. Hideko. Around like 4 to 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, the name disabilities was changed. It was in the past people with special needs, and now it is people with disabilities or disabled something. So can you tell us why did this name really change from people with special needs to disabilities?
That's an excellent question. UNDP, also bilateral development partners and the sister agencies like UNESCO, UNICEF, and ILO believe that what's also important is to support people with disabilities by bringing their abilities and potential to the optimal level.
Yes.
So, for example, UNDP appointed Mr. Michael Haddad as our regional goodwill ambassador for Arab states for climate action last year. And at the age of 6, Michael survived an accident but left him paralyzed with 75% of his motor functions lost. So his doctor told Michael that he would never be able to walk again. But he's a good fighter with good spirit. So he found ways to balance and stand, and later devised his own step to stride method of movement, which he later improved using his high-tech exoskeleton, or what we call, external artificial skeleton to stabilize his chest and legs.
Yes.
So,
Ms. Hideko, also that leads us to a beautiful question, really. Everybody knows about, there is a lot of some, people who they are very, very an excellent, production, really. They became a major people in the world. They are disabled, but they create, they are a good, for myself, really, and maybe Amal and the others, we know because we are good readers, people, they don't know about them. So why don't you make like a magazine or a certain program for those people, and we can help also from Sunshine program, we can help in this to making, focusing on those type of people who has disabilities. What are your idea?
Yes, I think that's a great idea because, people with disabilities are actually, great leaders and pioneers. And for example, this UNDP Goodwill Ambassador for the region, Michael himself, disabled. But, his performance has really inspired medical and engineering research,
Yeah, but please, my dear, don't forget to write my name as the issuer of this program, so you don't write it by Amal name or somebody else, huh?
Right.
Okay. Copy of right, please, So continue, go ahead.
Yes. So persons with disabilities are demonstrating that they can be more resilient and successful than healthy people, actively engaging in supporting our society. So I fully agree with you that we should have some inspiring also another program to introduce those, people with disabilities with great leadership.
Okay, Ms. Hideko, there is also, Amal, there is a beautiful question, which is we are living now the coronavirus stage.
Yes.
And Ms. Hideko, a lot of those disability people, they don't have good immunity. So what is the overall really impact of COVID-19 on the people with disabilities?
Right. Disability alone may not be related to higher risk for getting COVID-19 or having a severe illness. And most people with disabilities are not inherently at higher risk for becoming infected. However, you are right. Some people with disabilities might be at a higher risk of infection or severe illness because of their underlying medical conditions.
Exactly.
So there are some categories of people who have, we have to support with various measures, like people who have limited mobility or who cannot avoid close contact with people who may be infected, such as direct care providers and their family members, and also people who have trouble understanding information or practicing preventive measures, such as hand washing and social distancing, and also people who may not be able to communicate symptoms of illness. So during this pandemic, people who are dependent on support for their full functions may find themselves isolated during these lockdown measures.
Excellent. Yes, indeed. Ms. Hideko, you've given us a lot to talk about and also a lot of information from your side, and that is a really great. Thank you very much. We would like to know also what have been done for the people with disabilities by UNDP Kuwait also, and in the national partners in Kuwait.
Yes, UNDP is encouraged by the government of Kuwait's effort for the inclusion of people with disabilities, the Public Authority for Disability Affairs, PADA, and the General Secretariat for the Supreme Council for Planning and Development, and civil society have been our long-standing partners. And under our joint project led by the government, we have delivered the Kuwaiti Digital Accessibility Framework on web accessibility guidelines with a training package developed and conducted for professionals who are supporting people with disabilities.
And
And also with the leadership of the government, we delivered a Create Universal Design Code, which was developed in consultation with the stakeholders and adopted by the cabinet.
I think, you know, what you gave us as usual, you became, you know, a strong colleagues for us, not just a guest to interview her, really. You did a great job. Excellent answers, really, and your participation in our program always highly, you know, recommended and appreciated.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, really, for our guest, Ms. Hideko Hadzialic, Resident Representative of United Nations Development Program, and we will continue, really, our episode, Emil. We have a lot of nice, good things for our viewers, you know.
Indeed.
But let us have a little tiny break. We'll go have a little tiny coffee, and with a little flash, and come back again for you. Bye-bye.